Hey guys, it's Mario here, and in this video I'm going to take you through my squat practice day. So the big idea behind this day is just to practice my squats with singles, doubles, triples, and with a little bit of high repetition work, as well as I'm going to do some calf work and some hamstrings and some lunges, which is the exercise that I quote-unquote hate the most, but I still do it every time I do my legs. So the point of a squat practice day is to not having to do a full workout with a lot of volume, because I've been really ramping up the volume lately and I've been doing a lot of work. So this particular session was just to give myself a little bit of a deload, but also to practice the skill. Because squatting is a skill. It's the exercise that actually responds the best when it comes to training frequency, because you guys know that I mentioned a lot of research with training frequency where it's advisable to train each muscle group 2 to 3 times a week based on the evidence that we have from Dr. Brad Schoenfeld and his team of researchers who did these studies. They've shown that there are some benefits, and when it comes to hypertrophy, but also when it comes to strength, there's a famous Norwegian Frequency study that is still unpublished at the time of making this video, but the conclusion of that study was that the squat actually is the lift that responds the best to an increased frequency. And the reason why is because squat is a very complex movement. Compared to the deadlift, compared to the bench press, squat is much more complicated. So the squat requires more frequency, or it responds better to higher frequency because you have more chances to practice the lift. So I'm currently squatting 2 to 3 times a week. I'm actually going to amp that up to 3 to 4 times a week, and 2 out of those 4 potential sessions will be practice sessions. Those are sessions where you don't go to your max, you don't go to muscle failure, don't even go near to failure, but you simply practice the lift and get some volume, get some time under the bar. So there's not going to be a lot of fluff work, quote unquote, in those sessions. By fluff work, I mean a lot of these isolation movements or assistance lifts. It's just going to be squatting, right? So just getting more reps with the squat. And this is something that I would recommend every single person if you're really interested in mastering the lift. Training this squat 2 to 3 times a week would be the minimum that I would recommend. I mean, some will go as far as train the squat every single day. There's this quote-unquote Bulgarian method, as they like to call it. So you basically go up to your working max every single day, and you basically squat every day for 30 days, or let's say 3 months or 6 months. Some will even go as far as that. I don't recommend doing that unless you're an extremely advanced lifter. I'm not there yet myself. Even after 6 years of training, I'm nowhere near the capacity, the work capacity, and also the chances of injury are really high at that point. So I would not recommend doing the squat every day thing unless you want to try it for 30 days. I mean, don't go too heavy. I did that. I did the 30 days, and I did feel like my squat improved in technique a lot, but I also didn't make much of terms of gains, and I was very fatigued, and my total training volume took a big hit from me doing a lot of volume in terms of squatting. So here you see me doing a single 140 that felt okay. I haven't done this in a while, these heavier weights. This is not my max, but it is a good chance for me to practice a little bit of singles. It's kind of I guess testing myself, because I want to get my ATG squat with 140 kilos, 308 pounds for about 10 reps this year. So that's going to be the goal. It felt really heavy in the set 3, and that's due to the very high amount of volume that I've been doing lately. Here I'm hitting up 300 pounds. I lowered it a little bit just to get a double, and I'm going to be doing a triple with this as well. This still felt heavy. I believe that I didn't take enough rest between set 3 and 4, so that's kind of why this felt a lot heavier. And in general, with these sessions, I rest as much as I need. In general, with your training session, it's okay to be able to rest a little bit less, but for these compound movements, I mean, if you're pressed by time, and I obviously advise getting the volume and then resting as little as possible. But if you have plenty of time in the gym, you should be resting as much as possible between the sets. And here you see this 3 reps that I'm doing with 136 that I'm retightening between the reps, so I don't let the reps blend. I see this happen to a lot of people who squat, is that they let the reps blend in with the higher weights, and that doesn't allow you to practice technique properly. So even here, for example, you see that I'm basically taking a breath, I'm retightening up between the reps, and I make sure that each individual rep is executed with the same technique, and that allows me to reinforce technique and allows me to get into my own pattern and get into my habit so I can execute the lift the same way every single time I'm doing it. And that's a really, really important thing. If you see any powerlifter, any weightlifter, anybody who's lifting weights at a very, very high level or doing any kind of sport, you're gonna notice that these people have rituals. They have the rituals in terms of approaching the bar. They have rituals when it comes to reps. They pretty much make sure that every single thing is consistent, and then they can change the variables and you can influence the training in a way that you know where that change, that if you make a little change, you know where it goes. And I see this issue with a lot of guys. I mean, when they're trying to change their workouts, they notice that something is wrong with their workout plan, or something's wrong with their diet, and they change like 15 things at once, and they never really know what change resulted in improvement or made it worse. So that's the thing with training. You want to make sure to keep as many variables consistent as possible. So by variables, I mean your squat walkout, the type of bar you use, the type of weights you use. Even though the weight says 20 kilos on it or 44 pounds, I'm still using the same type of plate with the same brand and the same barbell. Everything is the same to make sure that I have the most consistency as possible. I make sure that I use the same belt, in the same belt hole, with the same knee sleeves, shoes, even the shirt. I change the damn shirt. Sometimes it feels like it makes a difference. And maybe it's a little bit being too OCD if you look at it from a standpoint of what the fuck, you know, what difference does a shirt make? But it does make a difference if you think it does. So I want to make sure that I keep everything consistent as possible and then make just gradual changes. Similar for the diet. Let's say if you're not losing weight, I mean, the first thing to look at is your caloric intake. You don't want to mess with your macros, don't want to mess with different types of foods, try out different weight scales, weigh yourself with clothes, without clothes. And I see guys making a lot of mistakes. You want to keep everything else consistent and change that one single variable, which is just the caloric intake, and see if that works. And if that doesn't work within a week or two, as you gather data by weighing yourself and trying to validate if that change was successful, then you can alter something else or continue altering calories, right? So you don't want to make 17 changes at once, introduce 5 different types of supplements, change your sleeping pattern, as well as change all the foods that you're eating, as well as add more cardio and also calories and protein or whatever. Then you have no clue what worked. And not only that, maybe just one of those things would have worked if you just changed that one thing, but now since you changed all of them, what do you go, I mean, where do you go from there? It's same with training volume. I see a lot of guys, I mean, they're doing like, I don't know, 200 reps per muscle group every single session. It's like a 2-3 hour session. They're doing a lot of work. And where do you go from there? That's the question. Like, if you don't make progress at that amount of volume, if you don't make progress by doing 5 different exercises for chest, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna do 10 different exercises for chest? I mean, where does it end? And that's the thing where you wanna find your recoverable volume that is kind of a sweet spot with the amount of work you're doing, and also you're allowed for yourself for recovery, but at the same time you're progressing with strength. And you wanna find that sweet spot. The same for the diet. You wanna kind of diet at a maximum amount of calories as you can. You want to diet with the least amount of pressure and stress as you can, which allows you for more room to make changes as the diet continues or as the training plan continues. And then as you alternate the blocks of training and volume and intensity, you can then add more and more stuff. The same with quote unquote this fluff work, as I like to call it, with adding different types of assistance movements. If you can only get away with 1 or 2 assistance movements, that's perfect, because you can get the bulk of your workout volume from the main lifts, and you can practice those main lifts without relying too much on getting that volume from other lifts, which might be actually taken away from your recovery ability when it comes to, let's say, a squat. If I'm doing 4 sets of lunges and 5 sets of extensions and 5 sets of leg presses, you know, my squat is gonna be limited by that, because I'm doing so much volume from my quadriceps that I'm not allowing that volume to come from the squat, which is as I said, it's a skill. It's not just a lift. And when it comes to skills, same as every other skill, and you want to commit to it, it's a mastery curve. Practice makes perfect. You know, the 10,000 hour rule or 20,000 hour rule from Erickson's study. I mean, it might apply, it might not apply. Some people say it's like 10,000 reps when it comes to weightlifting. But we just know that the more you practice, the better you get, and the more weights you can lift, you get stronger, better, and obviously that translates into gaining muscle as well. So just a couple of tips that I wanted to share here with you guys in this quick voiceover as I practice some squats and some lunges, which I left for the end of the workout. I almost forgot to do them, but I'm like, okay, I hate this movement, I'm gonna do it anyway. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Aside from that, make sure to leave any questions you have in the comments below. As you guys know that I answer every single question you have. And as usual, I just want to thank you guys for supporting the channel. We're growing very, very fast. As you can see, the community is expanding. A lot of comments, a lot of great insights into training. Just by reading the comments, you can learn a lot, as well as checking out other videos. So as I said, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.